Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We are with Peter Hansen once again, who is a channel for Archangel Gabriel. And the energies that are transmitted through the message, through Peter's voice, are exquisite and so sacred. And so this is a space for all of us as we begin with Peter in this new year, catching up with him and Archangel Gabriel. Welcome, Peter. Thank you for being here once again.
Thank you for having me. This is such a pleasure to continuously be back here with you and then just following through what's going on in the world and with all the listeners, and how it's affecting our personal lives on a daily basis. It's immense. And as we're going through these tests and stipulations and clearings and triggers on the outside and on the inside, it's all in divine timing. And the way we work together, I love that way that people are being drawn to this show today because they feel the answers or the guidance or their connectiveness with the group it's a part of that transition. And
yes, it's a part of the transition, and it's very quantum in that sense, because everybody who was called to be here is actually helping everyone else, as you said. And I love this. The title of our show today is "You're Always Exactly Where You're Supposed to Be." And this is a beautiful, comforting reminder, because I don't know about anyone else. We would love to hear from our audience. How has the last week been? How has this new year been? Here we are, 6 weeks into it, about 6-7 weeks into it. And things are shifting. Peter and I were chatting before we started. And, personally, it's a great reminder for me because I had an iPhone that got stolen, and I was actually thinking, oh, I could blame others, but no, there's no blame for others, or it is just what it is. And so as rocky as that is, that's me personally. And it's like, wow, we will get through it. We will get through it. And it's comforting when you said these are clearings of our triggers. So what is triggering us, and how can we maintain a sense of peace within us? And this is what we're here to talk about today. And on a greater scale in our collective, we send all the souls affected by the Turkey and Syria earthquakes. We send so much love and comfort on a quantum level to all who are affected. That's a lot of people. It just seems like so much, and very heartfelt, as you and I were both sharing. So, Peter, I just want to check in with you for your insight on this, because you too were affected very deeply by it.
absolutely. There was specifically one picture we mentioned that's been all over apparently, and a man who was holding his daughter's hand in the ruins of a collapsed building. And yeah, I was very affected by that this morning when I saw that. I have a 15-year-old daughter myself, and same, and it was just like brought so much up. It's and that's hidden underneath, because there's like it's such a open medium of vibrations and frequencies, and of course sadness in this case, that's being touched on. There's like going so deep. That's something we can all relate to, and is it the fundamental our identity, our existence, our priorities, our value systems, all of that, what we treasure, who we treasure in our lives. Who we feel responsible for, all of that, like those emotions coming up. And in essence, of course, is that what are we attached to as well? So that's another way of looking at it. And it's important are we coming from fear? Are we coming from love? So there is a reason for this is coming up. It is a metaphor for what's going on behind the scenes, the earthquake, meaning that the matrix on a larger scale is dismantling, and is happening fast. And if you look at the person in the rubbles, or all the people in the rubbles, it can also be looked at as the third dimensional heaviness and consciousness, there's just a lot of people trapped, where now the light workers are coming in, crews are coming in from around the world to go to Turkey and assist, but in essence it's the same as the old is collapsing. We are assisting whoever is still there and who's ready and who chose to be here, to evolve and to awaken, to come out of those rubbles again, so that's very heavy. And I think people not realizing it, I mean, especially if you're in it, you're not seeing it till you get caught up in it and there's no way out, or till somebody is clearing out the space, and gently guide people out and bring you into the healing, into the medical tent, so all of that, you know what I mean. So there's a lot of big metaphors going on here right now, and the same with the phone. I feel like it's the triggers, is that attachments to things being a certain way, and we created a life around that. So if something is being stirred up, it's that's on high right now, and it's to make us take notice and how watching ourselves react. Because before we were much more in a linear or logical reaction mode, where now, where we are more in the multidimensional body, whoever is open to that, we are also connected with all these other aspects, so we can see all these aspects without reacting, but learning to respond instead, you know what I mean. And also it reminds us, it's like a wake-up call that we can't change anything in the future. We can only change it right now. So the actions we are, and the way we're operating, the consciousness we embody, the words we're using, is gonna pave the way for what's next. And that's also a part of the, we're always exactly where we are supposed to be. We just have to let go of our eager to get ahead of ourselves. We actually have to be more and more present, and if we're not, then there will be tests coming in, or phones being lost, or other challenges coming into our life that's gonna test us to see it from a bigger perspective and see, like, okay, what am I afraid of? What is the fear here, And from a multidimensional point of view, then we're not looking at the problem through fear, we're looking through love. And then it's take a very different, it looks very different,
I love that. Presence, the word presence was used, to be present, and not to project into the past or into the future, but to be very present. And it brings to mind the phrase, there's no problem in the present. So, okay, very good. Well, I'm tuning into our audience, and yes, it was 11:11 right now on the Pacific Coast, and 1:11 here Central Time. Always so beautiful when we see those synchronicities. Those numbers bring us back into presence. So thank you for sharing that. I wanted to share a thought, a couple of thoughts that came through on our chat line. Brigitte says, watching my words and thoughts, setting intentions daily, and releasing and letting go of whatever is coming up. Last week on Wednesday, had a huge energy shift and tons of portal energies. Yes, last week, what I've learned about myself is that I felt the energy before this episode happened. And I felt it a couple times earlier in my life. And so now, third time's a charm, now I'm more aware. And instead of being nervous or anxious about the energies, it's to be more aware and to be more present and to take responsibility, and actually to be, I don't want this to sound like a cop-out, but just to be in the love frequencies all the time, centered in the heart all the time. Interesting. We also hear from Kathy, who says energies are so very high and always changing and up-leveling. So this is an opportunity
I want to jump in there because I do actually had that down as a note somewhere about last week, the second, you know, the 2-2 portal. I felt
Yeah.
it, and I felt it in a lot of my clients as well. There was an up leveling, there was a significant shift, and it was in the DNA, it was in the heat, in the cold, whatever where we add in our bodies. There was a significant shift where before we might have been more in the fire energy or more gamma ray. But I could myself also feel like everybody, you know, are all on their own level or our own, you know, space wherever we at, you know, so we all up leveled wherever we were at. So it was not like comparing it, but everybody, I feel, felt it, like you mentioned too, in some way, shape, or form, that something is different, like a deeper connection, or things are operating differently. Your body is reacting differently. You can feel more, connect more, deeper, maybe sweating more at night or less. It could go either way. So just like there was a shift of those old routines or patterns, so to speak. Like we finalized one cycle, and then now we mastered it, and now stepping into the next. And that's also signifying, you know, the new year, meaning the Chinese New Year, or just the galactic New Year starting, and we now again a new beginning, and we are seeing it in the outer perimeters. You know, we're seeing the earthquake, we're seeing a lot of things around the world, storms in California, floodings, big ice storms. North America, like huge, like didn't have power for 3 days last week. It was like just so much going on, big energy shifts, you know, ships getting closer, we being supported more than we ever been. And that's, we're not used to that. So it takes some navigating that new reality. And part of that is that we are the conscious creators, we are co-creating it. And that's important that we stay on that note, because if we kind of like let it go, then we're not, you know, present basically.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And so I'll use myself as the example again. For me, my husband and I were saying that this phone situation for me, again, I'll say my iPhone was stolen. But in the beginning, for like almost a year now, I've been trying to get a new phone or a local phone here where I am on the planet. And I've just not been doing that. And so when you say up leveling, this was when it came, we called it a push comes to shove. And this was the shove that got me to do that. And so hearing you speak, I recall that I reacted like I was on my own without the support that's all around us. So it's a beautiful reminder that we are not alone and that we have a lot of support right now. And so just tuning into that, I know everything's going to be okay. Everything is great. And then manifesting in the physical, I no longer have an iPhone. I now have a Samsung Galaxy. And that's a learning curve of its own. And so so for me, my music, I dance every day. And it's, you know, being a aerobics instructor for 25 years, my playlist took me a long time to develop. And when I didn't have my phone or my playlist and I was locked out of Apple for 5 days, I felt so lost without my music. And so the presence of going through that, navigating through that, I knew it was all going to be fine. Now I'm all in and it's fine. And I always knew it was going to be fine. So when you say that we are never alone, that we have a lot of support here, can you take us through how we connect or tune into that? Like, yes, we're being supported. So just always remember that we're being supported, right? And ask for assistance, or what would you suggest?
I'm gonna bring Gabriel in 100% here. Do you have your permissions, energy melt, to connect with your higher self?
Yes.
And allowing you to speak on behalf of the group, of course. So I'm going to bring in the Legion of Angels. I'm asking them to remove any wandering spirits, anything that's not a delight from this show, this platform, this group, this family getting together from all timelines, all parallel realities, and all dimensions. Just clearing the space, entirely and slowly opening up, allowing everybody to enter this field. I can feel there's a lot of heat going on, a lot of wonderful connections. And a good reminder here is just is that everybody who's here today are in a vibrational match with a higher reality, so to speak, of non-linear and less logical, so 0 point energy. So there is a underlying message of being patient, because as things are unfolding on the outside, as we're seeing in, or even people close to us, they might be operating in time. So there's times where we feel like we have to, cater to that. But at the moment, as that's all dissolving, it's important to pull back, so to speak, and observe and allow things to unfold, because there's so much going on behind the scenes that it's kind of like an explosion, and all the pieces are falling and the dust is settling. So we have to allow that to settle, because then we can see clearly. And because we are nonlinear and we are in the 0 point energy, there's no time. So we're not missing out, we're not behind. And that's again also tying into today's title of we always exactly where we're supposed to be. And whatever challenge is coming up, whatever visions, whatever is showing up in our lives, is what we either need to master next, or it's going to guide us to figure out what we need to learn or dive into next. So would you mind to just repeat the question? Sorry.
How do we tune in to the support that is around us? We're being supported in so many ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. First of all, the collective consciousness is more accessible now by being more in the 0 point energy. So everybody again here today are, either fully aware of it or partly aware of it, that there's been an opening. So it's, instead of going out into the all, or going into like the physical actions of Googling it or this and that, you want to go up, you want to go into the etheric, into the collective consciousness and pull that energy in. And that's a part of what that means, that we're not alone, meaning we are connected with the whole. So us as a group is a grand example of that, how we're sharing information. And it's not just through the words and the voice, it's the energy, it's the purity, it's the showing up. When the old self might have stayed in bed today, or want to just write this out, but no, there's an inner calling. So part of receiving assistance is that we have to show up. So we have to bypass all those old limitations, or in a sense, the identity with the human, where we were either a victim or things were hard, or in duality or in separation. And showing up as even though we don't fully know what that means, but in the present moment, the highest vibrational possible. So we are curious, we are willing, we are open, we are trusting that whatever is needed will come in. And for the time being, this is important too, pushing the boundaries of what was available before, pushing the limits, because as you mentioned earlier with the phone, you already been kind of manifesting this for a year. So now with that hard reset, anything that was in queue, boom, 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 is being pushed into action. So if you've been daydreaming or imagining a new reality, or a new world, or a new living situation, or new this and that, you were, seeing into the near time future, into that reality, and that's now coming forth really fast. So giving yourself permission, allowing yourself to expand and do things that you weren't or had a hard time allowing yourself to do before is crucial here. And part of that is the trusting that it's going to be okay, because in reality, you can't do anything wrong. If we are faced with two choices, either one will be the right choice. So it's about coming into that unified field of consciousness where we are the creator, we are the unified field of consciousness, we are the one who are assisting ourselves. So that is the assistance that we are longing for. And that's what's echoing here today as well, is that we are part of the same oversoul, we're part of the same light. We are on a mission together, and we're now coming together. We've been drawn together, and we continue to, more and more souls are joining us and assisting. But it's all aspects of each one of us.
Beautiful.
Was that helpful?
That was extremely helpful. Thank you. Yes, pushed into action, pushed into the new reality. And in hindsight, which is always 2020, I realized that I reacted in the old patterns and the old ways, and I caught it in hindsight. I was able to see it, and I was able to witness it. And that makes me much stronger the next time we are knocked off kilter. And so it's really being knocked off kilter, like the earthquakes, knocking our worlds off kilter. And I love how allowing ourselves to expand, yes, allowing ourselves to expand and go in the new. And hopefully we can do it with ease and grace without being pushed, so to speak. So wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope that this was helpful for others who are navigating in these energies right now. Here is another question. Again, this is a show for our audience for questions with Archangel Gabriel. And we are all connected in this group, and your question actually helps all of us. So here is Dr. Taylor. Hi, Dr. Taylor. Good to see you again. How do we permanently shift our vibration so that it stays high all of the time, no longer downshifting, just upshifting and ascending? And how do we recognize where we are so that we may make adjustments to keep it high?
Great question. Dissolving the subconscious mind, so to speak, is where all the stories are running in the background. So how we communicate with ourselves and the words we are using, and having healthy boundaries with identifying and shutting down any limited beliefs or any old energies that's working through those limited beliefs, and taking us for a loop or down the rabbit hole at times, or working through somebody close to us. So it's all about the frequency and the vibration, obviously. But the subconscious mind is that 95% is that we want to reprogram that. So we want to make sure that what is playing in there, for the majority of the time, it's in alignment with what we want to experience. So it's setting the intention, it's visualizing it, it's doing everything and following through, and it becomes easier and easier to identify unhealthy patterns. It could be alcohol, it could be certain foods, it could be meat, it could be some practices, this and that, television, media, finding a healthy balance, and then listening to the signs, because as the more we now pay attention to it, then more guidance will come in. And it won't be a you have to do this, then or you're going to fail. It's more of it's going to gently guide you, and the more you allow yourself to be empowered and you're taking your power back, it will become easier and easier to do that. And again, we also I haven't mentioned that today, but we've been preparing for this for a very long time in other past lifetimes as well. So this last week's portal as well, there was a significant upgrade and activation and access to inner knowledge. And a part of that is what the preparations from past lifetimes for this specific stage are being activated and accessed. So there will be a general feeling of things being a little lighter, a little easier to make those hard decisions, where before we allowed the addiction or the connection, the attachment to whatever it was, the sugar, the whatever it is, to do it anyway. It could be sex, it could be, it's life force energy, all of it. So now navigating from the life force energy and allowing it to be much more balanced, and allowing ourselves to be staying in it, not just in it for a minute and then leave it out, come back out. It's like we are holding that container much better. So also to answer more layers of your question, there is that there's been guidance in your life coming up. I should be doing this, or a natural curiosity. One thing I'm feeling is like Kundalini yoga, breath work, binary tones, nature, but also like just a want and not necessarily a need, but it's just a wanting to be a better person, a better expression of oneself. That is shining brighter and brighter, and it won't hold back. It won't stop. So if we try to, it's kind of like fighting the current. So allowing yourself to expand and continue to expand with it. And we will be along that way, taking inventory of seeing that we are way past previous limits of what was acceptable or possible in our little realm, so to speak. And of course, there's a purpose for that. So, and we need to see that, kind of like what you mentioned, that, you needed to see the phone, Lorraine, where it was gone, and process it, because you were not in it. You were observing the energy is working, and how the old programming was trying to play out, but you did not react to it. You felt it a little bit, but you were just seeing that energy. It was not you. You were actually outside. So it's the same here, is that it becomes easier and easier, and we are all in queue for this next phase, and it's gonna continue now. We are all planets that direct, it's gonna accelerate. And a part of the earthquakes and the other disruptions around the world, weather patterns and all of that, it's a part of just shaking up the old, like we are accelerating. So it's kind of like the wheels are spinning, and it's digging in a little bit, and then it accelerates and go faster and faster, if that makes sense.
That does, thank you. And I'll reiterate, for Dr. Taylor here, is what you said, what Archangel Gabriel said, is now we access the inner knowledge. And that inner knowledge is the key to staying in that vibration. So thank you. And being a better expression of self, this will not stop. So that is one thing that I realized a few weeks ago. Wow, there is a certain awareness of holding that space with everyone and everything, the best expression of ourselves. And so very helpful words. And the planets all being direct, we can look out in our night sky and we can see one after the other. I think it begins with Jupiter, Uranus, and just Venus. They're all lined up as well. And so feeling that support, I can feel that in our body. That feels like an alignment for us to be in that better expression of self. Thank you. More questions. Here is one from Bridget. Bridget, there's a couple from Bridget. So first, let's go to this one, because we're seeing this as well. If in the collective, if those are, this war between the head and the heart, if people are not in their heart, it seems like those are mental health issues. And Bridget's question says, I'm concerned for people with mental health issues. Will the new energies help alleviate some of these issues for people?
A lot of those health or mental illnesses and issues you're mentioning is separation from the soul, and it's part of the human as well, insanity in a sense, where it's programmed to be a certain way, but it's not the natural flow. So the insanity is actually the programming or the matrix, right? So to answer the question coming in, will there be healing? Yes, absolutely, because the vibrations bring everything into alignment, where before it was artificially kept out of alignment. So now it is on an individual scale, it's shifting, and communication is happening on an etheric and telepathic level, where each one is on our unique journey, and each one of us have our team working with us, assisting us, and have been for eons. So we have archangels, guardian angels, ascended masters, and the ones we, if we are consider ourselves normal in the collective humanity, The ones who were mentally challenged was because they were different a lot of times. So part of it is that all of the normal people are now also awakening and shifting and becoming less normal. So that will also allow connections to, or meeting on a level ground, where everybody can start and feel and connect in a different vibration. So that's going to be a part of the healing as well, to come, where the masses, the Mandela effect, or the collective, something standing out, the black sheep, or somebody being different, that is everybody's pointing fingers at that, and it's like, oh, that's bad, or that's wrong, or there's something wrong with you, or and again, it's manifesting that. So us not doing that as much anymore, that also allows that to heal. So we start seeing everybody as whole, complete souls. We're not seeing the facade, we're not seeing the behavior, we're seeing the energy, we're seeing the consciousness, we're seeing the purity of their hearts. And we are all part of source. So you can't go wrong with that. So it's also like connecting with whatever it is that seems distorted before as being a part of oneself. That also allows that healing, because it shifts how we communicate, what we manifest, and what shows up. So it's in the bigger picture, is there any distortion in the field, if you can call mental disabilities and illnesses distortions? It's being cleared out now when the higher frequencies are being fully activated, and it's not treating anyone any different. So it's like, it doesn't matter if you're human, or if you or mentally challenged, you would say, in that point of view. Everybody's getting the assistance they need, and they all coming together in a field of vibration where everybody can meet and communicate and process from, or progress from.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. All right. The next question, and again, this is good for all of us. This is from Bridget. Peter, with the up-leveling last week, can you give some guidance on where my focus should be moving forward with developing my healing skills?
Thank you. I'm just going to tune into you, connecting with your higher self, getting your permission. Thank you, Bridget. You, like most of us, consciously knowing or have visions or ideas of what we would like to experience sometimes in the future. You also have some of those, and of course, and those images or envisions, where you envisioned a future where things were, you were a higher expression of yourself, you were more connected, able to heal people with your touch. I feel that. That is coming, that timeline is also coming online. And since you mentioned the two gateway last week, a part of that is that the DNA activation that happened in your body, you are now able to channel energy, or being a conscious portal much more. So the energy coming through is going to be much stronger, because there's less limited beliefs in your body now. So your DNA is able to expand with that. So really, it is your imagination, if you want, that's your limitation. So you want to start this next part, you want to start envision yourself that you heal people, you complete healing, not just in levels or in small parts, you know what I mean? Because you're allowing the light to be channeled through you, and you are becoming a divine channel of wisdom and truth. So it's no different than the original blueprint. The energy coming through and being timeless in the 0 point energy can be instant healing. So that's what I'm seeing you stepping into now. There is some old clients that kind of overlap into that, but I feel like there will be a new modality showing up, and you at first not fully knowing what to do with it, but you will be guided what to do with it very shortly, because it will, soul contracts will show up that's going to be ready for that kind of healing or that kind of connection. And they will even show up and challenge you to say that I know I know you can do it, because I already saw that, not in a defensive way, but more like, acknowledging that they already know that you have these powers. So that's going to be a little surprising for you at first as well. People who've seen your light or feel drawn to you, and they just pop up and it's like, I'm ready.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And Linda, we hope that helped you with your question. If you still have a question on that, please feel free to ask. Very, very beautiful. So there is, we're being requested for a process in a little while. Let's go to a few more questions, a heart opening process. And actually, I'm going to leave that to you, Peter. Do you want to do a heart opening process for heart coherence?
That's actually at the workshop.
That's a workshop we're going to have.
Yes.
So I'm gonna let everyone know. Peter and I do these online webinars that are very special, and we invite you guys to do it. And so we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I do want to get more questions, because this is our audience today. And here's a beautiful question. And this helps all of us, because as we learn how to follow our heart, we want to help others follow their heart and help others determine when they're in their head and when they're in their heart. And Eleanor's question, how can we follow our heart more easily?
Good question. And again, like you mentioned, and we just talked about, like, we're going to dive deep into that in the upcoming workshop. What is the sacred heart? And the key here is really that we have to be a vibrational match. We have to honor those frequencies. We have to be an expression of the divine in form. So not showing up in the old ways of division or fear. So nurturing our divine blueprint, our identity with soul and self, like becoming one with the whole, allows us to be a transmitter of that pure unconditional love, because it is the programming that kept us, or the layers of protection that kept us from fully radiating that or connecting through our heart, which is our connection with source, with our soul as well, with the source as well. It is taking a different direction. It's shifting gears, but also shifting direction in life. Is that what was important, and what was programmed beliefs, what was important is not important anymore, and we have to let that go fully, and then with vigor and excitement start walking in that other direction. And that's going to be a little bit scary at first, because we're going to see all the places in our lives where it was not heart-based at first, and then we will see our surroundings too, where many others might be operating from the mind and not from the heart, and that will guide us to become a higher expression of our self, without judging, without holding back, and without recreating any kind of trauma. So it's a full circle. It's clearing house and resetting ourselves, and that's what all these gateways. We actually have another one here on 2/22 coming up. That's going to be like that too. And your physical body, I can tell too. You felt like sometimes you're outgrowing. It's like a lobster that's growing and the shell is breaking, kind of. That is what's going on here too. And then the process is already started. So it's keep the momentum, and then try to keep your thoughts simple and pure, and allow yourself to be in the 0 point energy, where you focus on the highest everything, at all times, and recognize when certain things comes up that's going to challenge that it's just that. It's just showing you that the old programs as they're leaving, and again, it's not because you messed up or anything. It's actually a really beautiful thing. But it's such a deep subject, so we're going to dive into that deeper in the workshop. I hope you can make it. And in a sense, in essence, our whole ascension journey is through our heart. So it's deep. It's very deep.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And using the example of my iPhone being stolen and having to work. See, I should stop saying the word stolen, but see, I'm still feeling a victim to that. So after changing iPhones to a Galaxy, focus on the highest always. And in hindsight, I look back and see how I could have focused on the highest always. So thank you for that. And keeping thoughts simple and pure, keeping our thoughts simple and pure. These are the old programs leaving, so welcome it. That is very helpful. Thank you. We're going to go to more questions. Linda, hi, Linda. There's a question. Sometimes a feeling of being lost between worlds, knowing I'm not supposed to be living where I am, but not really knowing yet where I'm being called to go. Can you help Linda with this?
Absolutely. I'm just tuning into your higher self and connecting here. Your view is increasing, meaning that I can see, like, if we see ourselves sit in our home, and then there's this window that just becomes this round, actually, and it's become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. At some point, the whole floor, the house you're sitting in, but then at that point, the ceiling is gone, the roof is gone. The whole thing becomes engulfed in the new, as that window becomes your new reality. So you're asking, what do you need to do? You really don't need to do too much, except keep your vision or your energy and your focus in keep looking deeper in that direction, so to speak. The move is already planned, so there's part of those timelines that you're already interacting with. So you want to maintain that as it's already happened. It's not out there, and that's part of the roof disappearing, and that's because that becomes your new reality. And there's really no limitations to what that looks like. One key element is that there is something in your life that you outgrown, not just your old identity, but that move will assist you to show up in a new way, and it's needed. So there is going to be a little bit of resistance at first because there was comfort in the old. So holding yourself in the highest light and recognizing that the old parts of you had a harder time to let go, but that is a part of that clearing going on right now in your life. And you're supposed to be in this aspect right now, as you're shifting into the new, where you are fully being seen as a new, higher version of yourself. A lot of the people will change because that needs to happen for you to leave that old limited consciousness and reality behind and fully stepping into the new. Let's see here, there's one more thing. Hang on. If you do some meditation and you meditate on what we just mentioned, it's kind of like you look at the wall. If you visualize yourself with the eyes closed, that you're sitting in your living room, there's this round window, even on a wall there was no windows before, and it's opening up bigger and bigger. On the floor, there's actually a silver lining. There's a tether, a string. It's not a tether like a umbilical cord, but it's a tether, it's like a string of your path of life that you want to follow that. So you want to play with that and kind of, at first you can kind of grab it like that and follow it like a rope. But then you kind of steps into it. It will allow you to get a lot of visions in this space, and it's helpful to be in meditation, because then you're in that vibrational alignment and openness to receive the messages, because there's a lot in queue. There's a lot, like when we come into that space, it's like the walls are just lined with informations and remembrance that just need to be activated and reintegrated into your programming, so to speak. I mean, your operating system, the new operating system.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Again, those words resonate with all of us, or many of us. Thank you. That's how we're all connected. So here is a question asked in another way. Perhaps you've answered it, but this will be wonderful. It's from another Linda. Are the solutions we seek here in the present moment, are the solutions we seek here in the present moment, and what do we need to do to match the frequency of it?
Yes, they are here, but the question is, are you? So, because there's infinite numbers of realities and timelines. So if we are not here, then we can't connect with it. But yes, they are all here in this 0 point energy. So it's just about tuning into that frequency and be in that vibration to experience that. What was the second part of the question?
What do we need to do to match the frequency of it?
Believe is already here. So we're not entertaining any duality, because being in 0 point, there is no duality. So the thought form you're entertaining is your reality. So you want to think about what you want, not about what you do not want. If you allow that to continuously happen, then you will be back and forth, and that's kind of not destructive necessarily, but it's very uncomfortable and yucky. And distressing. It's going to stress your system then. So staying focused, clear any kind of distortions in your field, becoming fully present is the key, and allowing yourself to be the conscious creator where you think big. There's really no limitations, even though you don't logically can figure out how you will get there. That's not important. You want to connect with that energy in this present moment, like it's already here, because then you already have it. You don't have to get through those logical linear steps. So it takes a little practice at first, but when you get good at it, it will happen instantly. But at first you will find a lot of amazement within that, just through your heart, tuning into that perfect timeline, so to speak. There's a perfect vibrational match with the realities you want to experience, the expression you want to experience, all of that, like right now. So you are quantum leaping into that reality. Okay.
Happy quantum leaping. Awesome. Clearing the distortions in the field and thinking big, limitless. Beautiful. More questions. This one is from Cindy. Do you see some blocks in my channeling and healing for others? Or am I sabotaging myself from ego? I've been working on having soul take the lead and ego the back seat.
Good question. Thank you. I'm just going to connect with your higher self. It's funny with spirit, there's always signs that sirens are here. So this is part of the question. I mean, the answer to the question is as well is that there's some alarm systems in your channel, if you want. And it's part of that old ego a little bit, the human, where it double checks. So it's creating small pockets of air. It's kind of like, it wants, there's that need or that urge to be perfect, not fully recognizing that you already are. So that old program is creating a small bubbles in your field a little bit. It's not, but you're asking what is. So you want to clear those bubbles out of your field. And you don't have to do it in the way that you might think. It's more of a, like, let's say there was a radiator in the old warming heating systems, and mostly probably in Europe or maybe in North America as well. there could be bubbles of air in the system. So you kind of open up and then you allow the water to spray out, or like a syringe, let's say, where there was air in there. So you kind of like push it out. So it's just all pure light and consciousness. You can do that same kind of practice with this. So you don't have to go through, identify it and figuring out where it does come from and so forth. It's simply just bubbles, those kind of floating around in a little bit. The second part of the question, let me just see here. Can you remind me, please?
Sure. The second part is basically working on having the soul take the lead and ego the back seat, or is she sabotaging herself from ego?
Okay, got it. The part of you saying you're not ready still, so yes, that would be sabotaging. It's also the thought forms of still communicating with yourself, or beating yourself up a little bit and saying basically you're not there yet. Like you are maybe 75 to 95% there, but there's still a little bit. So it kind of vary. Like at times you're really, really high. Sometimes you a little lower, but it's not like extreme. But there's still a little bit of that echo of the old that's still hopping or popping up here and there. And I do feel like there's some partner energy as well that's kind of like lingering as well, where it's comparing itself, and it comparing itself to the humanness in people, where age and everything is that it's a linear process. It's a belief system that we start one way and we finish another way. That is working against us, because that doesn't keep us limitless. So you want to break that chain as well, is that you are eternal being, and you want to entertain and bring more of as much light and present moment awareness into the present moment, and do that and reset yourself throughout your day, but also, of course, with clients when you work. But basically, it's continual. It's not just when you feel like it, if that makes sense. So the soul is knocking, and it's ready, and it's here to assist, and it's gonna shift very soon, I feel. So the guidance you're getting today, you for the most part already been getting most of that already. So it's more of it reaching that sacred point. And I do feel like the 22nd this month is going to be a big cornerstone or milestone for you in that concern, or that in that case,
All right, everyone. Thank you. And we hope that was helpful for you, Cindy. So thank you. And she says it makes perfect sense. Perfect. Well, here is another question from Marianne. Marianne, thank you for this. How has our Holy Mother Earth experienced and felt the earthquake event?
Good question. Thank you. It's kind of like on the crust. So first, it was showing me that our holy Gaia, she's multidimensional. She's timeless as well. So it was partly on the surface. There's just cleansing going on. So how did she feel it? Just going with the flow, allowing shifts and vibrations to shake it into alignment, so to speak. So it is almost like an itch that's disappearing, if we can use those words or use that analogy or example, is that if you could imagine yourself having a rash, that's kind of what this signifies. There was some irritation going on that needed to come out. And it's not exclusively to the earthquake, of course, because there's all these storms and other events around the globe or on Gaia, and it's all part of that. It's as the consciousness is clearing as well. So the rash is going away, any distortion. There was only so many layers deep, because the core was already pure. It was just the top layers that was infiltrated, if you want, or out of alignment. So this is bringing everything into alignment again. And at the same time, this is looking from one dimensional, in a sense, there's infinite numbers of Earth where, as we are jumping, quantum leaping, shifting timelines and realities into a higher version of Earth or higher version of ourselves, we also clear the history. So what happened last week at some point, or you might notice too, is like, certain movies, you might, if you see movies, once any kind of stuff like that, that you've seen it, but you don't remember. So it's kind of like seeing it again because it's been cleared. It's similar to that, it's just like clearing the blueprint of whatever went on up till this point, as we're coming now into the 0 point energy entirely. I know that I'm not sure if that's a good way of describing it, but that's what's coming up.
Thank you. Beautiful. Here is a question from Randy. Hi, Randy.
Randy.
Randy asks, how is my unique healing journey serving and an opportunity, not a problem?
An opportunity, not a problem?
Yes. He does have a unique healing journey. How is it serving and how is it an opportunity and not a problem?
Oh, got it. Okay, got it. Thank you for clarifying that. Just going to connect with your higher self. The question is kind of answering itself, but really what it comes down to is that you are soul walking in form. So the healing, you being the healer, you starting as being the student and then becoming the teacher, is paving the way for you to becoming the solution. So there's no right and wrong. That was part of the distortion. That was part of the old that was not fully there. So everything is in alignment for you and everything is unfolding perfectly. Key is for you to acknowledge it and own it. And that meaning also is that you're a light worker. And the name or the word in itself is kind of like, that's not something that has a title in society, let's say, but it really doesn't matter where you travel or where you venue to, you are always bringing light. And that's all that matters. That's why you are here. So there's immense light being channeled through you. I can feel there's been a past of a little more rocket personality, but it's not who you are. And it's meaning also that you chose that as a part of your journey to this point where you are now reinventing yourself. A part of you not being fully present at the time, that was the facade, that was the pretending, that was part of the play, so to speak. But now you connecting with that in a good way. So it's all purposeful, it's all coming together as it was supposed to, into full mastery, where you are the archetype of what's possible here in the human body. So you're also embodying and experiencing that you're coming into extreme oneness, where before you felt like an outsider, but now you start to realize from within that this is all you. You create all this. And that is the key point of the transitioning and the shift, the polarity shift, where it's now you are in charge of everything. There's no victim, there's no holding back, there's no entertaining any kind of separation or duality, because it's not serving you as a light worker, it's not serving you moving forward. I think that's it.
Randy, we hope that was helpful and very rewarding for you. Let us know if that resonates, and I can sense many of it does. So thank you. So we have a few more questions. We're going to get to those in a moment. I wanted to have you share more about the event that we're going to do. It's the 25th, and it's right after this gateway of 222. And in these events, you and the assistance of Archangel Gabriel really offer a wonderful experience, a sound experience, this heart coherence. Tell us what this event is going to be like. Thank you.
It will be a activation of the heart space, but bringing in the ascended masters and the archangels to assist, and the teams. So we're going to go in and do a physical, so to speak, in the workshop, where it's going to be where you're not, each individual is not necessarily just receiving. I actually, part of this is making you do stuff. So it's an interactive experience. So it's guiding through that, through the healing process. And this is not the workshop talking, this is the healing part of it. And really that's the theme of the workshop, of course, as well, is that we are co-creating. So we are activating, and we are activating blueprints and new operating systems within. So the latest codes coming in will be activated and addressed. And through the workshop as well is really the heart versus the mind. So we're going to focusing on shifting that direction and fully activating the light bodies and all the bodies and bringing them into unison in a unified field of consciousness, moving forward. So have some takeaway, and also how to access it by deeply going within, and new insights on how to do that as well. Latest up to the date. And really what happens too is that it's happening so fast right now, is that what we might think we get out of it today, towards the day coming up, there was going to be so much more activated within each individual that it will be easier to access and integrate on a personal level. And it also comes into soul living, it's really about, there's that other portal coming up, the next 222, and continuously it becomes a deeper and deeper expression of the unified field of consciousness and through the heart space. The unconditional love is being the divine, being a source creator. When we end that purity of our heart, it's just like everything is just glowing, everything is blissful, everything is in harmony. And we want to share that. And we have to allow ourselves to receive that first before we can fully unhinged deliver, in a sense,
Yes, absolutely. It is a magical time with Peter in these events. The vibration and the conversation, the questions and the alignment is very precious. So we invite everyone to check that out and join us. It really is a very sacred space, and it's meant to be very supportive with all of you. And it's so lovely. Again, it's so wonderful. So that link is in the description box of wherever you're watching or listening this video. And also it is in our Zoom chat box as well. Check it out. And also the webpage that got you here has a link to it as well. You also have personal sessions available, and I've done a personal session with you, and it was very healing and heart opening and heartwarming and confirmation of being in the heart. We talked about this war between the mind and the heart, and it just validated what I was experiencing and set me on path. And that was through the entire 2 year last year. So these sessions are very supportive for everyone, a great opportunity for people to ask the specific questions. It's an hour long with you, and you do sound healing with that as well. And there's an opportunity for people to get multiple sessions, because we know that when we start to dredge up some of these things and integrate it as we go along in our weeks, then it's very helpful to have more sessions with you. Would you like to share anything else about those personal sessions?
Well, I think your personal take on it is beautiful and perfectly describing what's going on. It is organic, individually uh, assessed and accessed, feel, tuning in with each individual and identifying what's blocking or what's next or what's need to be addressed. So it's a very unique, and we are all, that's something important to remember too, that we all here for different reasons, and we hold unique frequencies, each one of us. Like yours is only yours, nobody can do you. Same with me and each and everyone. So by bringing in the higher self and allowing that whole coherence to take place and fine tuning the entire body, all the bodies, during the session, not just through talk therapy, but whatever's coming up, but also through the vibrations and the healing part, bringing in and seeing who's coming up, who from your team might want to join in, allows for a deeper embodiment. And I noticed that a lot of people are showing up like that now, with the willingness to see, the willingness to approach the unseen, allowing themselves to step into or being guided into past these, old limitations, you know what I mean? Allowing them to be seen as something bigger, So anyone who feel guided to do that, I highly encourage you to follow up with me or somebody else, do the similar work, because it's you are investing in your future. You are envisioning and imagining the future timelines and bringing them into fruition now. So you are accelerating your path and your journey.
And that is empowering when we can steer our consciousness into the timelines that we prefer. And the connection with the higher self becomes an embodiment of the higher self. And we can't go backwards after that connection and experience has been made. It is the wisdom that we carry. And if that's all we do in our journey is make that connection with our higher self, we've done our job. And if we can help others do it, we've done our job as well. So thank you. All right. Well, again, everyone, feel into your heart on this. And if it resonates, please check it out. It's very affordable. We also have a 2-payment plan if that helps. We want this to be easy for people, for easy access. So some options there in joining us.
I just want to jump in and say it is a special discount too. So you're actually saving money on the regular price. Another incentive, and
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
It speaks for itself.
We do appreciate that, and it's a gift for all of those who are joining us in this space. So thank you. We really appreciate it. Okay, a few more questions we have time for, and I do see that it's 12:12 on the Pacific, so that's a magical number as well, and 2:12 here. So, all right. Let's go to Anne's question. Anne says, for many years, I've been holding on to material possessions, beliefs, behaviors, which are not needed now. I feel stuck in an inability to move forward in the unknown, even though I crave to be more of who I truly am. How can I embrace help to move into the vastness of the new?
Okay. First of all, you can't do that through the mind. That's important. So, and for you specifically, what they're showing me here, vibrations would accelerate it immensely for you. Nature is a good one, but also maybe doing sound bath, anything like that, higher vibration, or listening with headphones on to YouTube, binary 528 or something like that, playing singing balls, doing chanting, Om, and any kind of vibration will assist you to bypass the mind in a sense, because there's where you want to go, you don't have all the answers. So that's the key here, is that we can't we can't remember it, so to speak. We have to be a clean vessel and organically be open to receiving the answers in the present moment. And I know that's what you want. So the vibrations will assist you in feeling the sacred geometries around you, where you won't need to get to somewhere, because then if you're fully multidimensionally connected and activated, then you're already there. So then the answer is just vibrationally being delivered to you, where before it went through some filters and into the mind and being processed that way. So now you're going to be receiving it through vibrations. And the sun as well is really good. Do some sun gazing in the morning and in the afternoon if you can. Really good. Just filling up with as much light as you can. And it's also through foods and any other things that would lower it. Try to discontinue that or find something that works for you. Follow that inner guidance. There's certain things that you might not have to do as much of, I feel. So you kind of have to take yourself on that journey of taking your power back, because you will recognize that it was just something that you were being told to do. It was a program at some point that got a hold of you, or it was a part of something you needed to experience. So vibrations is your big thing.
Beautiful. Another beautiful reminder for sun gazing. In yesterday's show, that was another beautiful topic, and we're really into that. So I just think the synchronicities are perfect. Thank you. And we hope that was helpful. Absolutely. Okay, Destiny, here is your question. I am sensing some energy on the right side and was wondering what's happening and how this serves me at this time.
Okay, thank you. Just going to tune into your higher self and connect with your body on the right side here. There's angelic presence right here. In your field, and it's like almost sitting on your shoulder, but it's actually the same height of you, but it's kind of like overlapping almost, like if you had the body. So it's like if it was just a physical, it would have to stand on your shoulder, but it actually energetically melting with you gently. So it's like it's this far in, but in the headspace it seems like it's right next to it, so to speak. But down, right side of your body, it's actually starting to melt with you already. What I'm feeling here is it is an archangel aspect of you. It's your you can say guardian angel aspect as well, that was separate from you, but also because you many years ago resonated in a similar frequency, you've been together since then. So now you were operating in a tandem experience for eons, but now there's another layer of that where you were becoming one with it again. So you're starting to vibrationally enter that realm and becoming that aspect of you again. So this is going to continue to go deeper, and there will be a little bit of a feeling at some point where you will feel like, oh my, it's gone, where you found comfort in it before, but it actually, because you're now fully integrated as it is you becoming one with that aspect, that high frequency, that angelic realm. And it's not just this, there's above your head, I can feel like above your crown, like shooting up, opening up, there's a whole seeding archangels too that's working, and the seraphims above that, and it's just the vibrations and the frequencies are flooding in. So your body is like a bottle being filled up as well from the top. So it's not just from here. That's just to on a personal level reconnect with that aspect of you, because you had a lot of history together. This is just grander in a sense, but not as personalized. It's just that it's your original vibration and frequency as you become source again. I hope that's helpful. There's a lot of light, a lot of energy going on there, and I think you already feeling that.
Wow. Okay, Destiny. Cool. Thank you. Next question. We have a few more moments. Here, do you need the person's name to tune into them, Peter?
I don't have to.
Okay. Here is an anonymous attendee. I was visited by suicidal thoughts and would like to know what is running interference.
Okay, thank you. I'm just connecting with the higher self. Right away, I'm hearing death and rebirth. The suicidal thoughts, is that basically outgrowing one aspect. And there's a tug of war within. So it has to sever. So it's scary for the old human, because that's what insanity is based on, is that why would you want to leave? Why would you take your own? That's all part of the human programming that's bad. But really to fully become our higher self, we have to reach the point where we really are fully disconnected from the old so we can transition into the next. And it's not a physical death because we really can't die as a soul. So, but we do need to reach the point where we're not identifying with the old any longer. So we're all going through this. I went through it myself at one point, and everybody I know of, some way, shape, or form on our ascension and awakening journey, we're going to reach a point where we just, what's the purpose? Because it's like we're not identifying with it any longer. But then we have to get past that, being scared of that fear about being crazy, the fear of having those feelings, the fear of, but that's all because it's fear, right? So that was feeding that. So for a little while, the more you can just surrender to that will allow you to let go of that old and step into the new. So basically accept that the way you're feeling in that moment. And it's like, okay, it doesn't matter. There's no right and wrong. And from a personal experience is that's when I had a shift, 3 hours one afternoon years ago, where I was just like, I was high vibrational for, doing wonderful work and happy for the most part, but there was still, it was not the real blueprint of me at the time. So I had to reach that point where I was like, I can't do this any longer, I don't care. Not having anything in hand, any plans of doing anything necessarily, but the feeling of it in itself is frightening enough. But reaching the point where it's like, I just don't care, and being okay with that, that's when it shifted and the phone rang and I got the guidance for what to do next, and everything unfolded from there. It didn't disappear entirely, because there was still, when there was hardship along the way, each time you're expanding a little bit, then we can go into fear a little bit. So then that feeling could come up a little less before it was fully gone. But it can, in my experience, it took a while, I feel sometimes, but now with the alignment we're in right now, it's not going to take as long, because we are at the tail end, and it's just, things are happening so fast. So that's what I'm picking up in your field. I hope that's helpful. Just please know that there's nothing wrong with you. It's normal.
It's normal. Yes. Okay. Well, we really hope that helps. And those words again resonate with us. And so I know that, if we come up against those feelings as well, that we will hear those words again from Archangel Gabriel. So thank you for that question, caller. Thank you. Well, 2 more questions, and I'm looking and it's 2:22. How perfect is this? And these next 2 questions are really good. Very, very interesting. Tia asks, are there other kinds of intuition and communicating with the angels that are not yet known to humankind and science? It might be possible that people are psychic, but they don't think so because it doesn't fit into the typical psychic categories.
Right. So to answer the question, yes, but at the same time, we're all psychic. So when we activate all our clairs, all our abilities, and we become fully online, then we are expression of source, and we are the conscious creators. So we are fully tapped in and tapped on. And that's the transition from the human that's separated. That was asleep, so to speak, in the matrix programming. And yes, in that realm, there's some that's partly open or have different experiences within that. That's gonna either have abilities to connect, or somebody who is partly in the fourth dimension and able to utilize that as a portal into the third. But that's transitioning out of that too. So are you asking, is there's something that's unknown to us humans? Yes, but it's more, again, it's more of a, I don't want to say not important, because really, like, as we're embodying it, we're going to see so much more than was available for us to see before. Is that when the belief systems are shifting, then what becomes available to experience and see is going to, expand manifold. So one thing that I feel like with this question specifically is going to, surprise and shock some people is that the tethers, good ones, it's not the unhealthy attachments to things. In this case, is that our team actually have energy cords connected to us, light to light, and in forms that we can't see with physical eyes. But as the ascension is progressing and becoming more and more awakened, then the higher sight is coming online too, where we can see multidimensional, we can see things, we can see realms, we can see, like you see the cat can see things, or the fully awakened see things and can share that. We all going to reach that point. So yes, to answer the question, yes, there will be something that's wasn't accessible before, but it was because of the closeness or the disbelief. So as the consciousness is shifting and elevating, then that's coming in, and the clairs are fully activating, and all the abilities are coming online.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And very comforting, because this again brings us to, we know what we know within, and the support that we are receiving now. So thank you. Good question, Tia. Thanks. All right. There's more questions than we can get to today. And this is why we invite you once again to join us in our upcoming event. It's an affordable workshop. It's where you can, it's a very safe space. We're going to unmute you. You can share your voice with us. And it's just really very precious. And even if you want to share your video, we can do that too. And personal sessions with Peter are always very helpful. If you've got questions beyond what we're being asked today. So please check that out. And so our final question of today is from Dettel. How do our guardian angels interface, or how does our guardian angel interface with angels and archangels? And how do they assimilate with our rainbow body?
All angels are connected. It's light, it's consciousness, it's frequency, it's a vibration. So there's a frequency bandwidth. So it's a unified field of consciousness. So the way we describe angels or presences, we like to put labels on it. So really, in essence, they're all part of the same. Like, so are we, but we just haven't reached that fully yet, So how do they communicate? It's simply like the quantum field that everybody is part of the same. So Michael, Gabriel, on and on and on and on, seraphims, like the consciousness is just like organically everywhere. The light, the frequency, basically everybody is the general of the ship. Everybody is, everybody can take each position but it's really like numbed down to explain it in those words. So that's how it's communicated. It's like it's showing up in what the individual receiving it is comfortable with receiving it, basically. So that's why certain archangels are resonating in frequency more with each individual, is because that frequency is a closer match. But as we go higher, then it becomes into the same frequency, right? So, and for the angels, it's not any different. It's just the way it's being received in the lower realms, if you want. And the rainbow frequency is the rainbow light, the diamond light. It's different nuances, if you want, different frequencies. The same with gamma and photonic light. They are holding information. So the fully embodied, being has all of these activated within, and it's not in pockets. It's all merged together. So it's kind of like you see a rainbow cloud. It's like there's all these clouds, right? But there's one that's a rainbow cloud, and it's just fluorescent. It's like amazing looking. That's the similar thing to that. Is like when the conditions are right, then that expansion happens. If that's helpful.
Thank you.
That interesting questions today, and I thank you guys for that. And I do feel like there's a want for the metaphysical, of course, but also less about the person oneself, more about the bigger, you know what I mean? Seeing the bigger picture. And that allows the field actually to also operate in that frequency as well. So that's a wonderful development. I feel like it's directly connected with last week's events as well. It's just like it's anything that was holding it down is kind of like is collapsing, and then the cloud is, the vibration is rising, the consciousness.
Beautiful. Yeah, so hold on to your hats, everyone, by being anchored fully in your hearts and aligned with your soul and your higher self. Interesting times that we're in, and I know that as we move through our world outside of this experience, then we have some incredible tools to help us and to keep us centered and in that 0 point energy, which is the gateway of the heart. So this has been amazing today, and we are welcoming everyone to join us in this month of beautiful 2 energy, which will set us up really for the next few months. And we know that March, with astrological signs coming in, there's more significant progress and markers for us, for our soul journey. And this is all here to support you. Our workshop is to support you. And if that resonates, please join us. If personal sessions with Peter resonate, those are available as well. So wonderful. Exquisite is the energy, and we are so grateful for you and Archangel Gabriel. Is there anything else you'd like to share as we end our sacred call today?
Let's see. First of all, it's just saying or reminding everybody that if you buy the sessions, you also get free access to the workshop. That's also included in that, if you didn't know that already. Everything is going to be moving forward in a very accelerated pace, coming the next couple of days and weeks and months, obviously, as well. But where we saw things happening a certain way last year or even last week, it's gonna be little more uncharted territory moving forward. So hold on to your hats, like you said so beautifully, and stay in your seat, because really it's a sight to behold. So it's nothing to be scared of, and I don't feel anyone here is actually in that frightened energy, because you've been preparing for this. So it's one of those that you basically, if you're flying on a plane, that you trust the captain. With, in this case, we're going to put Michael and Gabriel up in the front seats, and flying us. Stay in your seat, and trust that everything that's coming in is for your highest good, and everything that's unfolding is kind of like the plot twist. So it's like there will be some unexpected events happening, both personally and in the bigger picture, but you will be able to process it so much easier, and it's because of the connectiveness with the team, with the galactic, with the angelic, with the soul family. We are receiving it and processing it as a unified field, which is very different. So it's not the separated cell or person that has to go through it or face the storm by itself any longer. It's not going to be like that anymore. That was the old experience. So hang in there and stay in your heart and love everything. Expect the best, of gratitude for yourself and all your loved ones. Everybody you get in contact with are here for a purpose.
Thank you. And trust that it's for your highest good. Trust. Okay. Very helpful. Your words resonated with our audience, and we're so grateful for our audience to take this information into the world, because your light matters tremendously, and you are playing a huge role for New Earth by being in your heart always, in all ways. Peter, thank you. Again, it was an exquisite time with you today, and we'll see you soon in that workshop. Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to it. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.